Hello again, Struck Web. Today I'm bringing you another Borderlands 3 build video, and this is for Moze, the gunner. It is an Iron Bear build video, and I decided to call it a Moze of Steel because she's got Moze of Steel for sure. It is a Iron Bear damage based build, and it can reach amazing numbers with the correct setup and items. Mind you, I did not squeeze the most out of the build when I was testing it. That's why I'm mentioning in the gear and skills segments later how things might be better than what I was using. I did find this on Mayhem 3 to be very strong, as you can see now on this final boss with 70% elemental damage on the map. He's doing up to 87-90,000 damage hits with those railguns, and it only took 2 magazines of a total of 6 shots with the two combined. And yeah, it definitely is fun and strong, and you definitely would be having fun. So if you want to have a Moze of Steel, this is the build for you. If you wanna be that one guy who is constantly in the mech, I'm telling you some of the things that can be done to improve the uptime during the gear and skills segment. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the setup. For the skill points, first let me tell you what I'm gonna show you is what was used in the video, but this is most likely probably not the best setup for for the build. So first of all, here we are using the double railguns, which seems the best setup for guns that Iron Bear uses, the railgun with corrosive sabot round. This is amazing. It gives us a reduced fuel drain for the price of reduced railgun damage, but an extra 2 shots in the magazine. So we can actually, before needing to reload, shoot 2 times 3 shots, which is pretty much a lot of damage before needing a reload. Amazing the way it is, but you can always switch to another one if you need to deal with shielded enemies. You can go for the shock ones with chain, or maybe for the shock ones which for the incendiary ones, or just a basic one, whichever you think you need for a certain situation. Now here I want you to know that I was using the bloodletter mod, and probably the better option would be to use a mod that is based on the Iron Bear, such as this one, such as the Bear Trooper. The Bear Trooper would probably be the better one, and I will be experimenting. I just didn't have it with me. It was in one of my new characters, and I forgot to pick it up when I was recording video to test it, because I didn't even know I had a good one there, but it turns out I did. So this gives me 1 point into Phalanx Doctrine, which I probably could live without, then 3 points into Desperate Measures, which I probably could also live without, since I want to be in Iron Bear most of the time. So this Iron Bear extra damage is not gonna be that much unless you let yourself take a lot of damage. So at certain points Desperate Measures would be nice for certain content, but in this case most of the times my HP didn't go that low. But yeah, it did go that low at certain points, so I think still I can live without that extra 50% gun damage to get extra duration and cooldown reduction for Iron Bear. Without this extra 1 point, probably if I'm not using that less, um, it's gonna be also fine if I use a front loader shield, because it's gonna be 60% HP reserved, and with the shield that reserves some HP and turns it into shields, it could still be a good choice. Then let's go through the points here. I put 3 points here, but maybe it's better to put 5 if you think you can sacrifice some points from here, or from here, or maybe even from here. I do prefer this to be 3 points though. I do prefer this to be 3 points, but it's also diminishing returns, so maybe kind of you can try experimenting with 1 or 2 points here. I put 1 point here, but maybe it's better to put more. And if you decide to test an auto bear, and it would probably be very strong to use an auto bear with this setup, then yeah, put 1 point here. I did go for 2 points here, but I will be experimenting with a build that maxes this one out together with a mod that gives me 2-3 points extra. like the one I've got. So yeah, that bear mod, the bear trooper gives you points here, here and here in those skills that are crucial to a good iron bear setup. This one gives you fuel, armor and damage. This one gives you fuel drain reduction, this gives you fuel drain reduction, this gives you cooldown rate, so pretty solid. Then here I decided to go 5 points cloud of lead, 3 points stroke the embers, but you can experiment with a build that doesn't go for stroke the embers and maybe only puts points into cloud of lead and puts more points in those skills here for the bear that I mentioned. And maybe you can even decide to not put any points into bottomless max and just go all on iron bear, maybe even get short fuse to get that extra secondary explosion, because those deal explosion, those are sticky. So this sticks either to surfaces or to enemies and then it explodes. So having that extra explosion probably would be amazing for this build. I will be testing that in my stream, so we'll have to confirm it. In the meantime, let's see what we got here. This bubble with 50% of iron bear max health, but this is very confusing because here it says iron bear gets extra armor, but when you go inside the iron bear it only has one yellow bar, so I'm not sure how this works. And this depends on how low the iron bear HP is. This also is adding 50% of iron bear HP as shields every 5 seconds, so I think it's worth for a 1 pointer. And then the other 4 points to unlock the bottom skills you can place here. I think it's a better option than this one, but you can experiment. 1 point in drowning in blood seems to be good enough for me. If you think you need more, you can sacrifice some points maybe here, or depending where. Like maybe you don't need that much here if you're going for a setup that's using deathless, but it's up to you. This is how I prefer to play it. Here extra bonus incendiary damage. This stacks well with that extra incendiary damage, and I've seen some good numbers on the incendiary damage every now and then. You can even see on the boss, on the final boss of the Cistern of Slaughter with 70% elemental damage, I did 90,000 with the railgun. So with that 90,000 I think it was 12 or 15,000 bonus incendiary damage over there, and that procced. So yeah, 90,000, 90, that is, not 19. Imagine how much damage that was, and this was just from one hit, and since you shoot for a magazine you shoot 6 of those, yeah, 87, 90,000 was the hits you would be seeing, and you probably already saw at the beginning of this video. So this is kind of it when it comes to how I spend the skill points, and as I said, probably it's better to go a different route, and I will be experimenting, and I would let you know as a pinned message under this video regarding what I found out to be the best option. Gear wise, let me again first tell you this is what I was wearing. It is not the most optimal, it's far from the most optimal gear, but if you wanted to know what I was wearing, here it is. Those are the items with the anointments I was wearing. First I was doing the Brawler World Shield, then I switched to that one. At first I was using this one, the Moonfire. Then I switched to some different ones like the Hornet and so on. I experimented with a few other weapons, but in the end having this Gutsman and this Gutsman helped me a lot. This I only saw myself using it twice and I really didn't need to. Then in the end to deal with the racks I decided to go for the Dictator. It seemed like a good option together with the Hex Grenades. At first I was using this one for the extra weapon grenade and action skill damage. And ideally I would have this or this anointment on a recurring hex, and I was using cryo, but as you see I have shock or radiation, I even have gas cold, but cryo seems to be best in this map that I was doing, because there aren't that many cryo birds, and when you freeze them they fall on the ground and they're easy targets. So ideally something like recurring hex with one of those two mods, two anointments would be nice. Sadly, you cannot get those two to stack together because they're grenade only mods. It would have been amazing though to be able to throw grenades when taking damage with Iron Bear, and then to have that extra weapon edge each time a grenade is thrown, or skill damage as well. Skill damage would improve the railguns. Ideally here you want something with cooldown reduction, so elemental projector deathless is what I was using, but that is not the best one. Maybe something that gives you like an elemental projector, auto idle, or elemental projector victory rush would be better. So just so you can see what a victory rush is and what an auto idle is. Victory rush is extra movement speed and damage for 60 seconds after killing a badass. Probably amazing because that's 18% damage. And then the auto idle is 18% of your max HP restored after killing an enemy, if you need more survivability. Elemental projector is good because with the iron bear you can shoot in your feet, and this explosion could corrode you. And this should be able to give you that extra damage. So yeah, you can see here those explosions should be able to hit us and give damage. I'm not sure why it doesn't work here, but it worked on some of the recordings. But even if you don't want elemental projector, snowdrift would be a good choice as a relic. So what else can we suggest here? Yeah, try to find some good relic with cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is a must. You want cooldown reduction, area damage, splash damage, something like that. Maybe corrosive damage or incendiary damage would also be nice. Then here we go. Instead of a bloodletter, I would suggest using a bear trooper. Bear trooper gives you splash damage, not splash damage, but it gives you fuel use minus 50% and iron bear duration plus 50%, and also extra levels to those iron bear skills, which would be crucial to keeping the uptime to 100% of this skill. So cooldown reduction from here and cooldown reduction from here. If you combine it with a shield that gives you cooldown reduction on action skill end, it's gonna be great. Then here this one gives me splash damage as well. Only it gives me pistol damage. I probably would have preferred area damage or something else there that's useful, but pistol damage is not so bad if I use like a Devastator or Poison Stores or anything else with splash damage. For shields, anything with high capacity, hot food, stopgap, catalytic, not hot catalytic, but just a recharger, so just the base is a recharger, a stopgap, a transformer, a frontal loader would be nice. As I said, I was experimenting with the Brawler Ward with extra HP regeneration with the Bloodletter to regenerate my shields instead, but I didn't like it that much. This is a new shield, not a bad capacity. It deals a Nova of the element that it drops, and it can drop it multiple various elements, so try to find one with the element you need, and this gives you amped damage. I'm not sure whether this amp damage would work on the Iron Bear though, so this is probably a good if you go the auto bear route. This is another amp shield, the rerouter. Also probably good if you don't go for a Bloodletter Deathless setup, but rather you go for a auto bear setup. And there's mods that give you extra bonuses for the auto bear. So there's this mod here. Where was it? This one. This is good when you're using. This one is good when you're using splash damage weapons with huge magazine size, like the Ogre, or any other weapons with magazine size. Then for auto bear you have choices like this one. So this is amazing for auto bear if you get a good one, a good rocketeer. And now, when it comes to weapons, try to find good splash damage bases like Kutzman. This one also can do splash damage. This does splash damage. Fwacker is amazing if you get it with a good element. Then the Moonfire I was using. Then another weapon with splash damage might be the Fearmonger, even though it's not my favorite. Then Shocking Creep Away. Then Trevenator. There's a lot of splash damage weapons. As long as it's a splash damage base, you can keep getting extra cooldown reduction, and as long as it has nice either on action skill end or while auto bear is active or after exiting Iron Bear, any good modifier, any good anointment that you think would fit your setup. When it comes to playing this build, probably as you would be seeing me being outside of the mech most of the time, when I min-max the setup for duration and uptime and cooldown for this thing, I would be in the mech most of the time. So while I was recording this footage, I found myself waiting for the mech to cool down, and then I had to use a lot of splash damage weapons such as the Kutzman to get the cooldown down. once you're inside the mech, it's pretty straightforward. Shoot those damn big fucking guns and do a lot of damage. That's how it is with BFGs. You can see it melts certain elites that have armor, like those vicious jobbers, then some of the manticores, and you also saw at the start of the video, and you would also see it at the end of the video, the final boss of this map only took me 2 rounds. That means one full burst of 2 times of 3 bullets, so 6 bullets, and then another one. So actually 12 bullets were enough to kill it from those railguns. And you saw the damage, 87, 90,000. So here with the Cutsman, I'm just kind of waiting for the Iron Bear, and thankfully the Fire Cutsman is pretty fast at killing enemies, so even if you need to second wind, it's easy to do so. The Dictator helped me for a while when I needed it on the ground, and it also helped me against some of the flying racks. Of course, there's many other better options, but that's just what I was using at that certain time. So here we would see some more elites spawning and more Iron Bear. I tried to keep the cuts mostly Iron Bear damage cuts, so you can see what it feels to be playing the Iron Bear. I didn't want to include a lot of footage of me outside of Iron Bear, but I still wanted to include some in case someone was wondering. So you see it's kind of killing a lot of things pretty quickly. There is slow delay. Before the projectiles you shoot explode, you can see it does initial damage, and then with the explosion it just melts afterwards. You can see 1, 2, 3 times 2, bam, it's dead. Then there's gonna be some manticores, I think, with this cut here. Or maybe just jobbers first, then the manticores later. But yeah, you can see it's pretty nice. And if you manage to hit the birds, it can do a good amount of damage. See, this feral varkid just got melted as well, before it can turn into a pot and into a badass flesh instead of armor varkid. So it's a bit tricky to hit the birds, and that's why I was using the cryo hex and the dictator to help me. And with the cryo hex, with the bloodletter, I was healing my shields with vampire. But if you're not doing bloodletter, you would be healing your HP. So once you get your shield down, you would be back to needing to heal your HP. It's not gonna be bad with the Bear Trooper mod though. I think with the Bear Trooper it would be perfect, and I will be trying it probably today on stream. We will see. In the meantime, yeah, you can see some more strong damage of the Iron Bear. Pretty nice, pretty amazing. I never expected that good of a result with an Iron Bear build, and that's without even min-maxing the setup. So definitely a lot of stuff to look forward to. And I also want to experiment with the fists, with melee damage based setup on the Iron Bear. I also want to experiment with dual miniguns or with mixed stuff. But a lot of fun is to be had nowadays with this Iron Bear. Look, you can see now the Dominator. It kind of glitched me for a while where I couldn't move up or down, so I was just deciding to kill it. And then now I think it would be some manticores after this dude. Let's see. Yeah, it should be some manticores and then the final boss. So you can see bam bam and it's dead, and the other one already taking damage from the explosions. And the good thing about this is it's sticky explosives and it's splash damage, so it doesn't hit just the target you're attacking. It also hits the targets next to it, and it also explodes if you don't hit the target and hit the ground in front of it or under it. And now we would see the boss fight. Just pay attention to the damage here once we go into that cut. Here it is. And just look at it, one magazine, then another magazine, and it's dead. This is just how quickly you can melt this boss with this build. And this is Mayhem 3 with 70% elemental damage, so have that in mind. 90k damage is with the 70% extra elemental damage. So you probably would be seeing 40,000 damage or maybe 50,000 damage. Let's say 50,000 damage is probably what you would be seeing without the 70% increased elemental damage. Definitely a build worth playing, and definitely a lot of fun to be had with it. Then after this, while I was looting items, someone joined my game, and then we did another run. with him there. I was just about to tell him I'm gonna leave, but then I told him, okay, let's show you this iron bear. So he was very impressed with it, and even went and subscribed to my YouTube channel. So speaking about subscribing to my YouTube channel, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and if you want to be notified when I upload Borderlands or other Wooter content such as Torchlight Frontiers or Chaosbane content, feel free to hit that bell. If you like the video, you can let me know by hitting the like button. The same goes if you didn't like it with the dislike button, and feel free to use the comment section to tell me why you liked it or didn't. And thanks again everyone for watching the video. Make sure you keep it cool, have fun in Borderlands, and until next time guys and girls. See ya, goodbye.